Good morning. My name is Marlies. You are tuned in to Master Brain Mathematics. I am an online as well as an in-person tutor. So if you are in need of any help with your mathematics or sciences, please feel free to contact me. I'm here to help. So for today, we are going to have a look at some grade 9 mathematics, and we are specifically going to have a look at the factorization of trinomials. So let's have a look at an example. So let's say we are given x squared minus 10x plus 16. And the question is that we are to factorize this expression. So now we know with trinomials, the first thing we need to do is to have a look at the coefficient of x squared. If there is a coefficient in front of the x squared, we need to try and take that coefficient out as a common value of all the terms if it is possible. So in this case, there is no coefficient, so we don't have to do anything like that. We can just continue with the factorization. So what we need to do now is we can straight away go and we can make our little brackets. And then we know that we will take the square root of the first term, in this case, the x squared, and that answer, which will then be x, will be written in the beginning of each of these two brackets. So we can write x and x in this bracket. Then we need to go have a look at the last term, in this case, plus 16, at its different factors, because we need to then determine which grouping of those two factors we will use in order to get to the middle term, which is minus 10. So in this case, we will have a look at plus 16. We'll go have a look at 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, etc. So in this case, we will have 1 times 16. We will have 2 times 8. There's not a 3 times something, there's a 4 times 4, and so on. Now we need to have a look at which grouping of two numbers, when we add them together, they need to give us the value of 10. So 1 and 16 will not work because 16 plus 1 is 17 and 16 minus 1 is 15. Also 4 and 4 will not work. So the only grouping that will work in this case is the 2 and the 8. So we will select the 2 and the 8. What we then do is we write them underneath each other. We draw our little equal sign and we say we want to have negative 10. Why? Because that is the value of the middle term of the original expression. So all we need to do now is need to decide what signs do we need to place in front of the 2 or the 8. Now we need negative 10. So in this case, we can see that we need to put a negative 2 and a negative 8, because negative 2 plus negative 8 will give us negative 10. And that means that inside of each of the brackets, we will then put in the one negative 2 and in the other one negative 8. And there we've done our factorization. So we can see now that if we multiply the first two terms in each bracket, we will get to the first term of the original expression, x squared. If we multiply the inside two terms, we will get negative 2x. If we multiply the outside ones in each bracket, we get negative 8x. When we add them together, we should get the middle term, which is then negative 10x in this case. And then if we multiply the last two terms, we need to get to the final term here, which is plus 16. And so we have 2 times 8, which gives us a 16, and we have a negative times a negative, which gives us a positive. So we have factorized correctly. Right, so let's have a look at another example. So what if we are given the following? We have 2x squared minus 12x plus 16. Now in this case, we do have a coefficient for the x squared, which we need to now have a look. Can we take it out as a common value for all three of those terms? In this case, we can see that 2 can divide into all three of 2, 12, and 16. So we can take it out as a common term. So in this case, we will take out the 2. And now we need to have a look at either the original term divided by what we've taken out, and the answer will give us what is left over and what needs to be written in here as an answer. And then we can cross-check again, working backwards afterwards to see that if we say this term times this one, we are supposed to get the original term again. So in this case, we have 2x squared divided by 2. So we are left with x squared in this case. The next term is negative 12x divided by 2, which will leave us with negative 6x. And then we have a plus 16 divided by 2, which will give us a plus 8. So now we have another trinomial without a coefficient at the x squared, and we can just factorize. Remember that as you continue on with your calculation, the 2 must not be left behind, but must be carried over every time as it is part of your expression. So now we can go and make our little brackets again. We can put the square root of x in front of each one. And now we're going to have to take the plus 8. We find the factors, 1 times 8, 2 times 4. And we want to get in the middle term negative 6. So we need to look what grouping is going to give us 6 if we add them together or subtract them. So the 8 and the 1 cannot work. So we'll either end up with 9 or with 7. So the only grouping that will work is the 2 and the 4. So what we will do then is we will write them underneath each other, draw our little equal sign, and we want to have a negative 6 in the middle term. So what we then obviously need is a negative 2 and a negative 4. If we add them together, we will get negative 6. So we are happy with that, and it means that the negative 2 and the negative 4 will go into each of those brackets. So again, we can have a check, and if we multiply the first two, we will get the x squared. The negative 2x plus the negative 4x will give us the negative 6x, and the negative 2 times the negative 4 will give us a positive 8. So there we have done our complete factorization of the original expression. So that is it for today. I will see you next time. Until then, bye-bye.